Good morning, everybody. The longest day continues. If everybody could bust out a 20-sided die, roll that bone, and tell me what...
way. Busting bones over here.
Busting.
I rolled a 9.
11.
I rolled a 10. Let's go.
Whoa! Incredible.
That was so close.
Ryan, my man, it has been a minute since you did a recap. Would you mind telling us what happened in the previous episode?
It's been like 2 or 3 episodes.
Yeah,
you had a good one a while ago.
I feel like I did it not too
I've been editing so many things. I don't know. Ryan, hey, what happened last time in Dice Populi?
I think we got on Lee's back. We made, we rode, I think we're going to Naranial is the correct name, going there to stop, the Magelords' final plan. They're trying to bring down the walls of reality and control time and space. So we went with Lee. It went pretty well until we saw some friends of ours getting blasted by Magelords. And then we, and I'm going to say we, not Kalt, decided that we could just, we have more important stuff to do, bigger fish to fry. So we left them, and then we arrived. There was another dragon that swooped in. As we're going to this other salt spire, which is kind of where we believe this thing to be happening. And then we make a couple quick trips through time, trying to avoid the dragon getting pulled. There's a time bomb. We finally make it to basically where this thing is happening. We start to try and work on this huge arcane device as that other dragon is basically bearing down on us. I put a wall of force up. I think I rolled really well to figure out the machine. So I'm working on all the panels and stuff. And I think that's pretty much where we left off. Did I forget anything?
No, not really. That's the broad strokes. The particulars of where specifically we are. Naranial, center of the Badlands. Just like when you left Naranial, but when the tears were up. There were 2 versions of this place happening at the same time. Kind of like Arianor, where there were 3, but there's 2. You guys have a much better grip on how this stuff works now. And with the 2 parallel timelines, one of them is green and lush from the end of Meant to Be, and the other is still a fucking dumpster fire garbage town. And that is where you are now in the Salt Spire. You're in this dilapidated, time-shattered world. A giant, glistening, shrieking dragon is bearing down on you. And because of those trips through time, Lee, your dragon god companion, is in the highlands where everything is green and pretty, and you guys are not there. You are in the tower without him. Jetta and Kalt, you're sort of preparing for the incoming dragon. Locke and Maeve, you realize that Lee is not with you, and Magelords are coming up from the side path. Those are the mechanics at play when we left off, so this is where we are going to pick up.
Yeah, woo.
The 4 of you stand in an ancient salt spire, the orange, dusty landscapes rolling away from you as a dragon bears down from the distance. It is about a minute away, and the pale sunlight reflects off of its shining, shimmering white scales. This is a starkly different dragon than Lee. It is sharply featured. It has a deeper, growlier roar that rumbles through the landscape. And as it approaches, you look at the room around you. This does look quite similar to the machine that you dismantled when facing Kaiser about 1,000 years ago. And here you stand to face down the consequences of those actions. Could I have everybody please roll a history check for me?
That is no bueno. I got a 5.
19 plus whatever my modifier is.
You would be the one who knows that.
That's a 1 + 1 for me.
Uh-oh.
17.
17. Okay. Kalt, you have just erected a wall of force as everyone around you is sort of preparing for the situation. But you are the one inspecting the consoles that control this machine. It looks largely similar to what you dismantled with Kaiser. And you, without knowing their particulars, knew that that was the machine that killed the god Asmagath, the twin gods of time, chaos, and order. It's the one that killed the god of chaos and split it into Lema, Galagath, and Seraphina. All that good shit. You know that.
All that good shit.
And all that jazz.
But you notice some differences in the machine. For one, it's a bit larger. And 2, the capsule in the middle, the thing where they were placing the essence of the god to split it, like Chowder described, It's there. It's floating in the air in between these 3 equidistant prongs. It's a big 50-foot radius room. There's a ring of these 3 towers, and then in the middle is a capsule. And that capsule is sort of like frosted glass suspended in energy. It is clearly the fulcrum of what this machine is trying to do. And your mind actually notices some differences in the design. Obviously larger, but if you think back to your times in the dungeons of Nar-Enial, back when you were going back and forth in time, the god that gave you your green rings, or rather the djinn that gave you your green rings, Al-Raid, was being experimented upon, and there were a series of capsules there. And this looks to be of a similar design. It's almost like a hybridization of the various technologies that you've seen. So whatever they were extracting from Al-Raid or doing to him, it seems as though they've appropriated their learnings here. Beyond that, you don't see improvements that would stop you from simply removing the crystals and dismantling it, but the machine in front of you, in the minute you have, you get a good sense of what you're dealing with. Locke and Maeve, you are the 2 that know Lee is in the alternate timeline, and you see this giant white dragon bearing down on you. What do you 2 do?
Do we notice Kalt is looking with a furrowed brow at the machine or anything like that?
Yeah, you see him tapping across the console, looking to see if there are knobs and levers he can switch, and given the intensity of the situation, he's really engrossed in what he's doing.
I'm gonna yell at him and be like, Kalt, if you have a plan, you need to vocalize that pretty quickly, because we got a dragon incoming, and it's not the friendly one.
This is very complicated.
Do you need me to start smashing shit?
You may have mentioned this before, maybe I missed it. Do I have a firm grasp on how I could
Firmly grasp it in your hand.
Do I have a firm grasp at this juncture of how I could turn this off? In an immediate sense, I know what we did last time by removing crystals and stuff like that. But do I feel competent enough with this control panel that I could just turn it off?
Basically what you did last time was power down the crystals so that you could safely remove them. That I don't think would be too tough for you, but it wouldn't be very fast. I would say it'll probably take especially if we end up in initiative, maybe 1, 2, 3 rounds of combat for you to get everything powered down properly. Locke did remove a crystal without powering it down before, and it hurt him quite a bit, and I think that would stick out in your head. So yes, but it's not easy.
I forget, is Jerry with us?
Jerry is with you. He can be floating anywhere in the room.
All right.
I'd say that maybe he's over by the stairs.
Jerry, come help. I need your hands.
Jerry swallows his pride, and after Locke's question, runs over to your beckoning and starts looking at the console and says, "What the heck is all this? I've never seen anything like this in my life."
It's okay, son. I'm going to put my hand on his shoulder. It's okay, my son. You just need to do exactly as I say.
There's a bit of hesitation, given his disapproval of much of how you operate, but you are right, and he has no idea what to do otherwise. He bites his lip, swallows deeply, and nods.
Eats his face and then swallows deeply.
Yeah.
So hopefully that maybe having a helper will kind of, having 2 hands will kind of decrease the time.
Sure.
And I'm going to start making whatever button presses and knob switches and lever pulls are required to safely start to turn the power off.
I'm trying to think of the best skill for that. I'll have you roll for that in a little bit, but you and Jerry start getting to work inspecting the controls. Locke, your prompt has gone unanswered, but you see Jerry run over to Kalt. Maeve is standing there, a little bit. What do the 2 of you do?
Maeve, do you have anything that could slow down the dragon?
Or speed me up?
Another dragon, maybe?
Another dragon.
Well, we don't have our other dragon.
Okay, but I could try to get one.
Fight fire with fire.
Okay, sure. I'm gonna go try to help Kalt do this as quick as we can, because I don't think we have enough time for him to figure it out.
Okay, I'm going to burn a first level spell slot into the crystal hand.
If you recall your time on Arianor, casting cantrips sort of just hurtled you into a random timeline of the many things happening. Casting higher level spells actually gave you a little more control. So, Maeve, you cast into this spell as Locke moves over to the consoles, and you begin your journey through timelines and stop in a giant void. The open sphere that allows you to peer into the multiple realities coexisting. Instead of seeing 3 timelines like there were in Arianor, you see 2. You see the lush highlands, and you see the desolate Badlands version of Naranial after the machine did its thing in that timeline. So instead of being thrown into the Highlands timeline, you have the option to simply step through.
Okay, yeah, I will run through.
You sprint head first, horn first, and you emerge, passing through the temporal membrane, and you see Lee standing atop the mountainside. There are flocks of birds coming up from the village below, presumably druids, but several minutes away, as Lee stands there grumbling, angry, and says,
"Where have you gone? Why have I been relegated here?"
No time to explain. There's another dragon. Come on.
Maeve, if you'd like, you can bring him back. Totally up to you.
I will burn a second level spell slot in hopes of it counting for both of us.
It does indeed. You create a radius that pulls people in around you, and Lee is then brought through the sort of temporal tunnels in the void again, and he finally witnesses the split in time that you just did, in the void here, the bifurcation of the dome above you, and he stares in wonder. He did tell you before, he doesn't have a grasp on time. This is not his specialty. So he's sort of taking this in and says,
"I did not understand the depth of power Azagar sought. This is truly power beyond my own."
Yeah, I don't get it either, but come on, let's go.
Lee watches you sprint through the membrane into the desolate timeline, pauses for a moment, and then charges in. Jeddah, you have been watching your friends rush between the consoles as this white dragon bears down mere seconds away. You are staring out the window, and you see out of the corner of your eye, Maeve reemerge from the side of the hill with Lee the dragon. You have reinforcements, and the clock is ticking.
Oh, thank goodness. I remember there being, Magelords coming up the stairs, so that's something we'll need to
Yes.
take care of, too. Is there, any sufficiently large... I guess I want to, roll a big rock down the stairs.
I would say there's nothing quite like that in this room. To describe the salt spires, because we haven't talked about them in a little bit, they're sort of like these strange vertical rock formations that almost kind of look like they were formed almost like a liquid that sort of hardened. They're very tall, and these towers are hollowed out of them. So the tower does extend upward above the machine quite a bit. You could potentially see if there's stuff up there, but it would take you a while to climb those stairs. We're not in initiative just yet, but you don't have anything immediately.
Okay, different plan. I want to cast Snare and set that down on the stairs.
Well, could you read that spell description for me?
When you cast a spell, you use a cord or rope to create a circle within a 5-foot radius on a flat surface within your reach. When you finish casting, the cord or rope disappears to become a magical trap. The triggering creature must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or fall prone and be hoisted into the air until it hangs upside down 3 feet above the protected surface.
Okay, you lay this trap at the top of the stairs.
I actually want to cast two of that because there's more than one, so...
I'm actually going to abide by the component requirement here, which is that it does require rope to do this. So this will consume any rope that you have, which I know you do have.
I have
but
rope.
These traps are going to consume that. So I'd like you to remove that from your inventory as you stand at the top of the stairs.
Yep.
You hear the footsteps approaching outside the tower door as a group of maybe 4 or 5 Magelords runs up. They're sort of freaking out and screaming because of the dragon, and you don't know whether they're coming to attack you or look for cover. Is there anything else you want to do at the top of the stairs?
Hide right now. Hide in plain sight.
There are enough small boxes and stuff that I think that you can easily exploit your roguish abilities and conceal yourself at the top of the stairs, awaiting anybody that may approach. At this point, you hear, all of you, the grizzled shriek of the incoming dragon. It has arrived, and it is monstrous. It is larger than Lee, sharper than Lee. It is louder than Lee, and it lands on the hillside where the crumbled tower from Meant to Be is. And from that pile of wreckage, it shouts at all of you. And I would like everybody to make a wisdom saving throw.
Raggy.
Ooh,
That's an 11.
that's a 4.
Yep, that's another net 1 for me. +1.
That's a 5.
This is quite possibly the most threatening and intimidating creature you have ever seen, and each of you is frightened by its roar. meaning you have disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls while the source of the sphere is within line of sight, and you cannot willingly move close to it. I'm not going to get too particular about that. I want to give you agency, but getting up close to it is going to be a problem. So all 4 of you are frightened by what happens, and Lee, standing next to Maeve, you hear Lee say in a deep, angry growl,
Azigar.
At this point, you know that this is the source of Magelord power, the tyrant that is seeking to gain control over time, that has essentially created all the circumstances that you have been in. I would like everybody to roll initiative.
I have to use a different die now, because that one is fucking dog shit.
I'm rolling very poorly. That's an 8.
That's a 2.
I got a 7.
Plus 3.
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, holy hell.
8.
Okay,
Fuck me.
so our initiative order is Locke, then Kalt, then Lee, then Jeddah, then Maeve, then the Magelords. I'm running them as a group, and finally, Azigar rounds out the initiative. Top of the order, Locke. It is in motion. You know the identity of the dragon attacking you and the scope of power at play. You are with Kalt. I'll say that Kalt and Jerry are at a control panel near the stairs. You're closer to the window where Jeddah is at a different panel trying to unlock this stuff. What do you do?
How far away am I from the big boy?
Azigar is outside. He is at a parallel
Right, but
salt-
like what range?
maybe like 300 feet.
Oh, fuck. Never mind.
Yeah.
I don't have anything that goes that far.
No. But you're by one of the control panels inside this tower, and several parties are outside of the tower.
I guess seeing that we're not really making progress on demolishing the machine, I'm going to start smashing stuff.
No! I haven't even gone yet.
Kalt, I will let everybody react to things Locke has done.
I'm cocking the hammer back right now. Like,
What are you doing? Stop, please. No.
Locke, I'd like to ask, are you targeting the column that has the crystal power supply in it, or are you targeting the console in front of it?
I'm targeting the power supply, yes.
Okay,
I want to try to
cool.
shut it off, even though I
Okay.
know that I could take a lot of damage doing it, but...
I'll say that you're fiddling with the controls, and unlike Kalt and Jerry, you can't make heads or tails of it. So like last time, you whip out your hammer of thunderbolts, and they see you take a step back, winding up your attack. Free actions for Kalt, Jeddah, and Jerry if you want to say anything.
Be careful. Remember last time? As I'm like... writing my thesis
Jeddah,
on this fucking control
Go ahead.
panel.
I can't really say this in character, but you should know that, like, just smashing stuff is what caused, like, the whole meant-to-be disaster.
That's true. This is a timeline in which a destroyed machine allegedly created some issues, but I'm not gonna weigh on that right now. Locke, is your intent to destroy the column or just to like break the door open like last time?
I'm trying to turn the machine off. So,
Okay.
however you think that would portray in this, if it's...
I think you'd remember pretty clearly last time that you had to rip these things open and take out the crystal. So I'm going to say that you identify the compartment where the crystal is and you swing at it. Please make an attack roll. I'm sorry, like your damage roll, not the attack. You hit it.
Okay, never mind.
Apologies.
Actions. Bam. That is a 21.
21, that exceeds the damage threshold, and you significantly dent the metal door, encapsulating it. It doesn't fully break open, but it dents in to the point where you can see the crystal and you see the pulsing energy running up through the columns. That is one of your actions. What do you do next? Do you have anything else you want to do this turn?
Do I remember what kind of damage I took the last time?
No.
Fuck.
If you had telekinesis, this would be perfect.
I will shout back at Kalt. As soon as that dragon's in range, I'm starting to smash crystals. Figure it out.
Okay. Just like, alright.
Locke, please roll a wisdom save to see if you are still frightened by Azigar.
That is a 5.
That is a 5. All right, you're still a spooky boy. Kalt, you're next in the order. I could have you roll to see how adeptly you handle the console, assisted by Jerry.
Knowing that my boy Locke has focused on one tower, I'm going to try and turn off power to that specific one to give them a chance.
Okay, I'm going to say that in order to do that, you understand that each console is tied to its column, so you run the 20 feet over, consuming your movement to his console.
Jerry will come with me and help, giving me the help action, which will help.
Roll Arcana. I'm going to say that this is a bonus action.
All right,
as
I'm
you're
rolling
just
it.
trying to
All right.
parse the control scheme.
Roll athletics.
Jerry's helping me, so it cancels out the disadvantage. So just a regular roll. That is a 16 plus 13, a 29.
29.
Kalt, this all snaps clearly into focus, and as Locke is winding up for maybe another strike and looking at the crystal, you are able to identify the order in which you have to flip these switches to stop the flow of power to safely remove it. In order to do that, I'm going to have you make a sleight of hand roll. This can also be assisted by Jerry, giving you a flat skill check.
Well, my sleight of hand is significantly worse. Oh, that's not bad. That's a 17 plus 1, 18.
It takes a few seconds. You hear the roaring of the dragons outside. You hear the footsteps approaching the tower. And as maybe a bead of sweat forms on your forehead from the fear and the pressure, you hear a as the crystal in front of you dims and the light begins to fade. The thrumming gets quieter. And there is one of 3 prongs not delivering power to the capsule in the middle.
Excelsior!
All right.
What's that?
Poggers, dude.
I always thought
That
that was
is-
a great catchphrase. Bazinga! No, that doesn't quite capture it.
So we're going to move out. Is there anything else that you can do with your turn that's action, movement, and bonus action accounted for?
I'm going to roll for Dragon Fear. Hey, that's not terrible.
Yes.
I'm rolling okay now. I changed dice. This is a different die.
The spirit of Josh compels you.
Brother, we've been using dice jail long before Josh, okay?
Yeah, I was rolling. There's 2 sets of dice in this black set. So that's a 16 plus wisdom saving throw. I'm really good at wisdom saving throws, so that's a 23, but I don't know if that's high enough.
You feel so empowered by all your different understandings of magic and the history of this situation. Just the sheer adrenaline of getting this done, you are not even thinking about the dragon. Your fear is gone and you are focused on the mission.
Hack the planet. So I'm free of the fears?
Yes.
All right, cool. I'm keeping this die handy. I rolled a 16, a 17, and then a 16. You're staying right here, buddy.
Next in the order is Lee the dragon. Maeve, you are standing next to this dragon as it begins to step out in front of you. After saying the word Azagar, you see a primordial rage take over its face and its stance. It's hard to miss the fact that Azagar is a larger creature at the very least, but that does not deter Lee from stepping forward. As such, the dragon is going to bellow as a show of intimidation. Lee is going to lunge at Azagar. It's a 300-foot gap. They are going to lunge at each other, but Lee has the upper hand in timing. It's going to make multi-attack. The oncoming melee between the dragons forms in front of you, Maeve, as Lee lurches ahead toward the approaching Azagar and sinks its teeth into its white scaly shoulder over its left wing, and you hear the crunch of those scales in between Lee's jaws. And he has taken a decent amount of Dimaggio. Next in the order, Jeddah, you are hiding atop the stairs, your trap in place, as you hear the Magelords run inside. Do you want to take any action? Would you like to hold an action for when the Magelords do something?
I would like to cast Mage Hand, and you know,
Okay.
because I'm a trickster rogue, I can do that discreetly and do a bunch of stuff with it. In this case, what I want to do is untie one of the Magelords' shoe with Mage Hand, if they're in range.
What is the range on Mage Hand again?
Like 30 feet, I want to say.
Jeddah, you cast Mage Hand, and the hand stretches down the stairs, but almost like when you're physically moving your hand out of reach, you feel the edge of it. It doesn't quite go. And you almost feel the sensation of needing to reach just a tiny bit further. If you'd like, you can sneakily try to crawl down the top of the stairs. That might be just what you need to do what you're trying to do.
Yep, I would like to do that. Please
Make a stealth check to see if you are detected while moving toward the stairs.
Oh my god. Well, let's hope the bonuses make up for that.
Don't forget that you are rolling with disadvantage because of the fear.
Right. Let's see, that is 12.
Jeddah, you army crawl toward the top of the stairs on your elbows and your knees and your belly, and you just get over to the point where you can see the Mage Lords and get that hand down toward one of their feet. One of them says, "Oi, there they are, top of the stairs!" You hear the fear in their voice from Lee's presence, but upon seeing you, they are reoriented towards you as an impending threat. Your position has been made. They don't see the traps, but they do see you. Is there anything else you'd like to do?
Carry on with the shoe untying.
Okay. I would like you to roll Sleight of Hand.
Yep, which is something that Mage Hand Ledger Domain lets me do. Nat 1.
Even though you've been seen, you sort of panic, and the Mage Hand makes its way down towards its foot, and one of them almost like steps through it, dissipating the mist as they say, "Up there!" And they have all turned their attention towards you, and your plan has not really worked out. Jeddah, before we move on, wisdom save. Let's see if you're still spooked.
12.
That does not succeed. The frustration with the situation keeps you locked in a state of fear. Outside the tower, Maeve. You've just seen two dragons lunge at each other, and you hear scuffling from inside the tower. What do you do?
I think I want to try to figure out, do I have a way to get back into the tower?
You could just make your way into it. It would take your whole movement just to get to the door, and you would be greeted by Mage Lords upon doing that. There are windows further up, but at least some of them are covered by Wall of Force.
I would like to walk into the tower.
Okay. You consume all your movement, you're at the tower door, and you see right in front of you the backs of 4 Mage Lords pointing up the stairs, screaming at Jeddah.
Okay. I would like to try casting Polymorph on one of the Mage Lord guards.
Do they have to roll to save against that?
Oh yeah, one of the one who I'm targeting is going to be the Mage Lord in the front, and they have to make a Wisdom saving throw.
Okay.
And I'm going to subtly cast it to try to be sneaky about it.
I believe you succeed on the cast because that guy just rolled at 10.
Yes, my DC is an 18.
All right. And what happens to this poor Mage Lord?
They turn into a giant octopus.
Okay.
Of course.
Jeddah, you're peering down the stairs, and as they're saying, "She's up there!" As soon as they say those words, you see Maeve's face peek in from behind in a small wave of her hand, and before the word "there" can even finish, you hear, "She's up there!" as the entire thing morphs into a giant mess of tendrils, and while octopi can be pretty powerful, it wasn't expecting to be one. So it just sort of blubbers there at the bottom of the stairs, rolling around and swinging its tentacles everywhere. I'm going to treat it almost like an inadvertent attack and roll saves for the other 3 to see if they fall. 2. This knocks over 2 of the other Mage Lords, so Maeve, you've disrupted this attack pretty handily. 1's an octopus, and 2 are on the ground. There's only 1 standing, freaking out at its compatriot.
Cool. So just so you're aware, I'm looking at the stat block. It has a speed of 10 feet, and it can hold its breath for an hour.
And it can also fit through small holes.
Not canon.
Pathfinder, sure, but
Yeah.
Maeve, I would like you to roll a wisdom save yourself to see if you have overcome the fear of Azagar.
Oh, geez, I did not. That's a 14.
Okay. Your mental state is unaltered, though you have certainly aided Jeddah in her predicament. Next in the order is the Mage Lords themselves. You see the Mage Lords in front of you. 2 of them are struggling to get up off the ground. 1 is an octopus that cannot dismiss the effects of the spell. The standing Mage Lord, I'm going to have him roll perception to see if he notices you, Maeve. Otherwise, he's gonna... All
right.
He rolled a 4.
Okay. My stealth is a +8, so if you're doing like a passive thing, it'd be like, what, 16? Or is it 10 plus your modifier for passive?
At a 4, I don't think it matters. He does not notice you.
All right.
The standing Mage Lord tries to step over the octopus to make its way up to attack Jeddah, and in doing so, I'm going to have him roll athletics to see if he can jump over the tendrils and up the stairs. That is a 16. The standing Mage Lord manages to leap over. At the top, he sees Jeddah with his sword drawn, goes to attack, but steps into the snare and is then yoinked up to the ceiling. It is dangling upside down. Let's see. It's 19 versus... he manages to hang on to his sword, but he is just swinging in the air. The octopus flailing about. The other 2 just got on their feet. Needless to say, the threat of these four is pretty heavily mitigated by your combined actions. And last up in the order is Azagar. Outside, engaged in melee with the dragon, Locke and Kalt and Jerry, you can see this happening outside the window. These two ferocious beasts are locked into each other, grappling with wings and arms. Azagar is going to attack Lee the dragon, but does not have the upper hand in this particular engagement. Its tail swings and thuds into the ground, shaking the floor beneath all of you as their brawl rattles the Salt Spire itself. Back to the top of the order. Locke, what do you do?
Kalt successfully powered down the crystal that I'm in front of, right?
Correct.
I'm going to remove the crystal.
Well, the door has been dented pretty heavily, so you'll have to rip the door open. I'm going to say that's
You
its own action.
motherfucker. 21 wasn't enough to just completely shatter the thing? Oh. Okay, that's fine. So I'll do that.
Okay, I'm just going to have you roll athletics to try to rip that bad boy open.
It's a 12.
12 total?
Yep.
You have your fingers inside the bent bit of metal, and you're pulling it open. You feel it creak and bend, but it does seem pretty stuck. You might have to pull a little harder or hit it a little more intensely.
Since I didn't move, can I try again?
I mean, I'm treating it like an action, so if you want to action surge, you can.
You son of a bitch.
You do have the choice of hitting it as well.
Okay, fine. I guess I'll just smash it again. Am I just rolling damage again, or do I have to roll
Yes,
for it?
yeah,
Okay.
it's a still object. You hit it.
That is a 14.
All right. Once again, so basically, Kalt and Jerry, you've just powered this down, and you're looking for where to go next. You hear the creaking of the metal as Locke fails to open it, a second of silence as he steps back, and then a loud...
It would not be a second of silence. It would be, fuck! And then...
You're startled by the loud fuck as Locke steps back, whips out his hammer again, and smashes the rest of this door clean off, exposing the crystal in front of you. It's glowing, it's thrumming, but it's not a conduit for an external energy source anymore. As far as you know, safe to the touch.
As far as you know, safe to
I'm not going to action surge to take it out, so I'm just going to wait.
This is just picking it up, so I'll let you just sort of do this with, like movement if you want to take it out and bring it somewhere.
Yeah.
We do know you're strong enough to carry these things, even though they are like several feet long.
Yeah, I'll grab it, and then I'll move over to the next console that Kalt and Jerry are trying to figure out.
Okay. Locke, please roll to see if you are still frightened by Azagar outside the window.
That's a 10.
Your mental state is unchanged, but you hoist the massive crystal on your shoulder and follow Kalt. It is now your turn. Kalt, I'm just sort of lumping in Jerry with you here. You are done with this console. Locke has extracted the crystal. There are 2 columns left. Where do you go? What do you do?
Do we say which side? Was that like center, left, right?
Basically, there's one by the staircase that you entered. There's one by the window at which you can see the dragons, and then there's one sort of off in another side of the room. And so you're by the window, so you could either go to the stairs or you could go to the corner.
You know what? Considering the stairs might be hot, I'll go to the other corner.
Yeah.
And I'll do my thing to try and turn that one off.
Yeah, looking between the 2 other options, you see that one of them is next to Jeddah on the ground, the sounds of an octopus, and a man hanging from the ceiling. You smartly decide to go to the one where none of that shit is happening.
Don't want no octopus getting up in my grill.
That consumes your movement with Locke and Jerry in tow. You look at this next thing. You already know how to operate the console.
I'm in.
Assuming you just want to try to deactivate it, please roll sleight of hand again to see if you succeed.
All right, Jerry's helping, so advantage. Plus 1. Hey, I rolled 2 17s on that, so it's 18. It's the same roll as last time.
It takes you several seconds to do this, but you are able to power this down. I'm going to say doesn't resolve until the end of this round of combat. But you're sitting there furiously flipping switches, and you hear thrums, you hear whirs, you hear the effects that you want taking place, knowing that you are about to power down this column. Outside, it is Lee's turn once again. Lee is fighting the good fight, trying to keep Azagar off your collective backs. Put this guy down once and for all. Lee makes another attack with its lightning breath, Godzilla style, having gained the upper hand in the melee against this larger creature, holds down its wings, sticks its neck up in the air, and pointing down, attempts to breathe lightning all over this thing and burn it greatly.
So like open up its mouth and try to like do the Godzilla thing where like breathes the fire into the mouth of the opponent.
That would be pretty dramatic. Yeah, let's say that Azagar is screaming upward at the sky, and Lee tries to aim it straight into Azagar's face. Mama birding / Godzilla-ing this thing.
Mama birding.
12 D10 lightning damage. Good grief. That is 58 total damage dealt to the large dragonman. You guys all hear this. In retaliation, Azagar is going to flap its wings, trying to shoo him off, using one of his legendary actions to make a wing attack. Beating its wings, each creature within 15 feet must succeed on a dex save or take bludgeoning damage and be knocked prone. None of you are close enough for this, so outside the window, Lee manages to land the attack, but in retaliation, Azagar shakes him off, his wings bursting open and sending out a shockwave of air that ricochets off the wall of force. You all hear it as Lee is thrown to the ground outside, prone, with Azagar towering over him. Next in the order, Jeddah. You've made a bit of a mess at the top of the stairs. What do you do?
Well, I think the situation is mostly clear with the Magelords, so can I... Man, I don't even know how to contribute to the dragon fight.
I mean, if you're looking for things to do, you could help with the crystals or, I don't know, murder those people that are hanging from the ceiling. I don't know. If you're looking for...
There's still 3 folks downstairs and 1 in the ceiling.
Right.
And you are very near a console, though you don't know how to operate it.
Because, like, I think the panel still needs to be opened on the one I just turned off.
Yeah, you guys haven't resolved that one, but you're making good progress. So, Jeddah, I mean,
It's up to you,
I guess
though.
to make it simple, you could try to engage with the Magelords and Maeve, or you could try to work on this console. World's your oyster.
I'm gonna keep dealing with the Magelords. I pull out my bow and fire at one of them.
Okay, you're going to shoot down the staircase. Go ahead and make that attack roll. So I'm going to say that if you stand up at the top of this, consuming half your movement, shooting from the top of the staircase obscures the dragon fight from you, and you can shoot down the staircase unobstructed.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'll do. And that is... Does an 18 hit?
Yes, it does.
Sweet.
Are you aiming for one of the 2 that are standing or for the octopus?
One of the 2 that are standing.
All right, roll damage.
Let's see. 8 damage.
Okay, 8 damage. Down at the bottom of the stairs, you manage to shoot one of these Magelords in the shoulder, and it is pushed back against the wall, nearly dead, staggering, while another stands and the octopus is flailing. Is there anything else that you want to do with your turn?
No, I'm gonna just stay at the top of these stairs. I do not want these guys interrupting any of this. So,
Okay.
I am the bastion that protects everyone from random mooks, I guess.
Jeddah, roll to see if you're still frightened.
Nat 1.
Very good. Next in the order is Maeve. Maeve, you have just watched one of these guards in front of you get plastered against the wall and is screaming in pain. 2 more Magelords in front of you, 1 at the top of the stairs by Jeddah. What do you do?
Can I see the dragon fight outside?
You can. You're sort of like half in, half out the door from sneaking, so you can sort of see. You saw Lee get thrown to the ground as Azagar stands over him imposingly.
Okay. How far away are they?
Maybe you just ran away from them, so I'll just say 60 feet around the tower is where you'd have to go.
Okay. I would like to try to cast Ray of Frost on Azagar, which is an attack roll, so I'm a roll with disadvantage.
Key.
That's 2 nat ones.
Oh, no.
Jesus Christ. Do you want to Tides of Chaos? Is that an option?
There's no point.
I don't think it
What
matters.
if 2 nat 1s canceled into being a nat 20?
Yeah, they're just as unlikely.
So is Ray of Frost a range attack that I have to, like that has to break AC, or is it a save?
No, it's an AC.
Okay, gotcha. So, Maeve, you cast Ray of Frost at Azagar, and the bolts of ice fly through the air and bounce off of its wings as it's sort of beating them ferociously at Lee. This draws Azagar's attention to you, and it takes a deep sniff as Lee tries to climb up from the ground, and it locks eyes with you. There is an intensity. It has largely ignored all of you running around and focused only on Lee, but it seems furious at your presence. Maeve, please roll to see if you're still spooked by Azagar.
Yeah, that's a 9.
It's the Mage Lord's turn. I'm going to say that the one downstairs with the arrow in its chest, he's still on the ground. He's trying to pull the arrow out of his shoulder. The octopus is still trying to gain control of the situation, and it is slowly trying to climb up the stairs, but keeps like slipping and rolling back down, preventing the third one from moving. Jeddah, there is a Mage Lord hanging directly above your head. It is going to take its sword and attempt to swipe at you from above. It is going to do so with disadvantage, obviously, because it is restrained. And it manages to swing its sword at you with a total of a 12. Does a 12 hit?
No.
You hear the whoosh of a sword chop right by your ear from above, and you look up and see that this guy is still trying to get the job done. But it is no longer your turn. It is now Azagar. Azagar's attention has shifted from Lee to Maeve. Lee is still trying to get up off of the ground. Maeve, you are going to experience a retaliation of what you just did. Azagar is going to cast Cold Breath, trying to breathe icy air at you in a 90-foot cone, and you must make a Constitution saving throw.
I'm actually pretty good at those. So I rolled a 5, so I'm going to Tides of Chaos that.
Okay.
Roll another one. Mm-hmm. Okay, better. 11 plus 7, 18. Ugh.
18. You feel the fear nearly overtake you, but you summon your ancestral energies once again in an effort to overcome that fear. And when you see the icy breath of Azagar blast at you, you summon the courage to dodge out of the way. So let me roll these 16d8. Instead of taking 68 damage, you take 34.
So it's funny because due to my infernal constitution, I actually have resistance to cold damage. So I'm going to take 17 damage.
And I'm going to give you a little treat here because...
Oh no, don't do that.
Nope, not the treat you think. Actually a treat. You have just withstood the attack of the most powerful god you have ever witnessed. I'd say if anything was going to help you overcome a sense of fear, eating the cold breath of this dragon to the face and basically feeling like you just got punched, I'm going to say that we can remove frightened as a condition from you now on. You've absolutely gained confidence in this fight.
Okay, I guess I'll take it. I got to roll a concentration for polymorph.
Okay.
Another nat one! All right, I lose concentration to polymorph.
Just
Okay.
break that die. Melt it down. Make something else out of it.
Wow, this sucks.
Maeve, you feel this overwhelming sense of like courage and power as you withstand the attack. A little frosty, a little bruised, but of course that is punctuated by the sound of an octopus slurping back into human form. And you hear, "Oh God, I was so slimy. What happened?" As he is freaking out inside the tower, no longer transformed by polymorph. Now, top of the order, Locke's turn. Kalt and Jerry have finally shut down this tower. You hear the pew as power drains from the crystal. What do you do?
So, is there any, like, lip on the hatch that I need to open to get to these crystals, or is it just like a flat little...
They're large stone columns, but the actual casings where the crystals are, those are kind of like metal inserts, and those are latched shut.
Yeah.
There are lips that, if you had, like last time, a crowbar, you could potentially try to open.
I do indeed still have the crowbar.
Crowbar gives you advantage on strength checks where you need to apply leverage.
Let's
I
go.
learned that from our own podcast. So as Kalt and Jerry finish their job shutting down the pillar, you jab the tip of your crowbar in there. Make that strength check. You're still spooked, so this will be flat.
That is an unnatural 20.
You got a naughty 20 over here.
Oh, dirty 20, baby.
You are able to quickly pop this open with a single action in a way you didn't at the previous one. Remembering your previous success, hey, came in handy. The crystal is in front of you, powered down and exposed. You still have movement, bonus action, whatever you want.
I'm gonna take the crystal out, and at this point I feel like I could probably only carry 2 crystals, right?
Yeah, at this point I'll say you've at least set the other one down. If you want to
okay.
leave them on the ground, you can. If you want to, like, I think we established last time, if you cast into them, they will, like, bounce you between timelines if you want. But yeah, you have them both out. What you do with them is up to you.
I don't want to go between timelines, but I also don't want to just leave them willy-nilly. So,
Okay.
We do have a bag of holding.
You have a cargo vest of holding. It won't fit in that.
that's my, yeah.
I have my leopard print bag of holding. Could toss them in there.
I'll like yell over to Kalt, be like, Kalt, drop your bag of holding for me.
Yeah, I'll just kind of like free act or item interaction, just kind of like let it slide off my body like I'm a little snake.
And a slippery little snack.
Little snack.
Little snack.
Locke, you pick this up from the floor as Kalt and Jerry begin their turn, you begin the lumbering process of shoving these massive crystals into the infinite space within the bag of holding.
Hell yeah, brother.
Concealing them from the world around. Hooray, good job. Let's see if you're still scared. Roll that wisdom save for me.
That's another dirty 20, baby.
You, like the others, are feeling the progress of your plan pick up momentum, and you overcome the fear you felt from Azagar. Kalt and Jerry. Kalt, you've just dropped the bag of holding on the floor. There is one console left. What do you do?
I'll go to the center console, and Jerry will follow me, and together we're going to start tip and tap away and trying to turn off that one as well.
Okay. Just like before, you roll over. That's your movement. You know what to do, but make a sleight of hand check at this point with advantage.
8, which would be a 9, and then an 18 that turns into a 19, which is higher than the previous rolls.
It is. And I'll say, just like before, you begin the several second process of powering down this column without complication. And during this, Jerry looks up at you. He's following your instructions. You say, move that, hit that, flip that switch, slide that lever. You talk him through everything, and he gets it at this point, and he looks at you for the first time with a sense of admiration. His first thought upon becoming a real boy was, oh, my dad fucking killed me. And he's had a hard time squaring that away. And for the first time, he's seeing you work on the behalf of others. It is an inspiring moment that you feel the appreciation coming from him, even if you don't stop to acknowledge it.
First thought should have been that I gave him life again. I birthed him twice.
That's not how parental trauma works. Next up is Lee's turn. Lee is on the ground and is going to use half its movement to stand back up and attempt to keep Azagar away from Maeve. Lee understands the import of Maeve to this team and the import of this plan to the state of reality and its balance. It is going to use Repulsion Breath against Azagar, attempting to push it back and get you guys even more time, even though it's just got knocked down.
But he gets up again.
2d6 plus 8, that's not a lot. That's 1. Lee, having only been slightly wounded by the wing attack, stands up and uses its repulsion breath. Let's see if Azagar saves. He does not, and Azagar is pushed, I'm going to say, anywhere from 50 to 100 feet away from the Salt Spire, buying you guys a bit more time and pushing it out of the way of the window for those that might still be frightened. Jeddah, you're at the top of the stairs. There are 3 Magelords below you and 1 atop swinging its sword at you desperately. What do you do?
Okay, here's the maneuver I'm about to pull, all right? I dispel the snare so that, he falls, and as he's falling, I'm gonna kick him down the stairs and hopefully knock him into all the other dudes.
That's badass as hell. You got the rock you wanted. It's a person. So you do exactly that, and this guy falls. I'm just going to have you just make an unarmed attack roll. I just want to see whether or not your foot lands the kick.
Please, come on. This is too cool to fail.
You're no disadvantage here.
God bless you, Dice 19.
Woo! You do exactly as you intend. This guy falls and lands head and shoulder first on the top of the stairs. He might have had a chance to recover, but you swiftly shove your foot right into his ass, and he goes tumbling on down. The other 2, let me have them make a dex save here. You have gone bowling for Magelords, and all 4 of them now exist in a pile at the bottom of the stairs, a helpless heap of folk. Maeve, you've heard all this resolve behind you, and you now stand between the Salt Spire and the dragons. Lee has come to your defense as Azagar turns his attention to you. What do you do?
How far up is the machine from the bottom of the tower?
The floor above you is maybe 20 feet up.
20 feet. Okay. We're gonna go inside, and I'm a Misty Step up.
Okay.
So that's a 30 feet jump on a bonus action, and I'm gonna go to the machine.
Okay.
And then I think I want to try to interact with one of the crystals.
Okay, you get to the top of the stairs, and your Misty Step sort of you just whoosh past the guy on his way down, bowling into the others, and you land atop the stairs as Jeddah has just executed this maneuver. You see Locke still shoving the second massive crystal into the bag of holding. You still have movement. What do you do?
I would like to try to remove a crystal from the machine.
The last crystal in the machine is in the column that Kalt is currently powering down. You could assist him. Once this power's down, you'd have to open the door, take it out. But yes, Locke is preoccupied trying to hide the other two. The third one is being worked on by Kalt and Jerry.
If that's the case, then I'd like to take the help action and try to help Kalt with this.
I'd say that you walk up and you ask Kalt, like, hey, how can I help? You get up there, Kalt understands what you're here for, and without saying a word, he points at the switches next to Jerry, and there's one big lever that has to be pulled. And as soon as he points to it, without hesitating, you reach up, you grab it, and you pull it down towards you, and faster than it would have happened otherwise, this is shut down. The pew is heard. The thrumming of the entire machine stops, and the entire room falls quiet except for the dragon brawl happening outside. You've successfully disabled this machine. You don't know what it does, aside from the fact that it will allow Asgard to take over time in some way, but you all feel a sense of accomplishment as the Magelords are defeated. Lee defends you, and the machine comes to a halt. The crystal's still in there, but without power, the capsule in the center of the room begins to descend. You are all, I'm going to say, out of initiative for the moment. There's still a threat outside, but you're watching the machine wind down. What do you all do?
Are we breaking from initiative?
Yes.
Is it 3 separate consoles, or like is there a main console?
There are 3 separate consoles, one for each pillar with a crystal. All 3 have been disabled, 2 have had the crystal removed. There's a capsule floating up near the ceiling between the pillars that is being lowered.
What do we see in the capsule?
Well, it's frosted glass. You can't see into it, but it is approaching you more and more.
I desperately want to use this disintegrate spell.
Before we forget, I'm going to pry open the last console or place. Yeah.
As Jerry claps his hands on his dad's shoulders like, holy shit, you did it. Kalt, you walk up to inspect the capsule as it descends, and you hear Locke prying open the door behind you to retrieve the third crystal. What do you do?
I would like to see inside the crystal to have a better idea of what... I do think like it's a nice little bow tie on this to make sure they can't do this again if I destroy like one of the consoles or like this thing. But before I destroy this big crystal thing, I definitely want to know what's inside of it, because who knows, maybe it's something good.
Before we do anything, I'm just going to say, hold on to a crystal. I have an idea.
I have all of them. We're good.
Okay, cool.
Locke says that next to you as he removes one of the large crystals and sets it down and leans it next to you. It's you're taller than these things now because you shot up from Seraphina, but this thing is now next to you and he's obeyed your request.
I look inside. He said it's like frosted. I'm going to try and like wipe it or something like that to see if there's something inside.
When the console finally descends to the point that it is within arm's reach, you touch it thinking you can wipe it away like a fog, but you can't. It is sort of a thick material. And as you peer through it, it seems crystalline. It seems to be sort of hewn from these crystals, forged into this pod, similar to what you saw in the labs where they created the Stoneholm beasts and sapped Alraid of his energy, where Steve the scientist was called a bitch and then died without dignity.
Maybe he shouldn't have been a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point.
All these memories flood to your mind as you put your hand on the capsule, and it lowers down to the point where it's in front of you. It's large enough to hold maybe a couple people, like it's bigger than you. And there is a clear mechanism on the front to open it, even though you can't see through the glass. Kalt, you reach out, you open up the capsule, and inside you see a familiar face, but not the one you may be expecting, Ryan. The withered, emaciated form of Galagath, whimpering and shaking, is in there suspended in chains within the crystal. He lets out a deep sigh as he summons the energy to look into you. This once sort of smiling, doddering old soul in the body of this gentleman locks eyes and says, "You have to kill me!"
Steve now, bitch.
Kill me! And that's where we're gonna end it.
Oh, it's easy. Oh, I thought it was going to be something hard.